You know, as it turns out, I'm not perfect. I'm a human. I have a human brain, just like you have a human brain. And our brains are amazing. In fact, I think we often take them for granted with all the junk we put in them every day in terms of input, in terms of media and whatnot. However, they are limited. We can only recall so much. So as you can see by the title, I have over 250 summer fragrances. I don't know how many I have. It might be more than that. I don't know. I have hundreds and hundreds of fragrances total. And as a result, so many of those I literally forget I have. They're just in the back of my shelves and I just don't even see them. So I wanted to take some time and dig through my collection. It took me probably 20-30 minutes to really just pick through and notice like, man, when was the last time I sprayed that? When did I last reach for that? This is just how it goes being a reviewer. This is how it goes just having tons and tons of fragrances and having more and more sent to you every single week. It's amazing. It's not as glamorous as it seems, but it can be fun. So I wanted to capitalize on my brain not being able to keep up with everything and turn it into a video. And I have 8 fragrances here that I really enjoy. I've worn here and there over the years. I've talked about here and there over the years, and they've just been forgotten about. I haven't talked about them a ton as of late. I want to get them on your radar. They're going to be linked down below to whatever links I can find to check them out if you're interested in doing so. So how about we dive right into it? This first one up here is a discontinued forgotten gem from Valentino. This came out at a time when the Valentino Uomo line was for real, when they weren't just trying to appeal to every young guy out there, when they weren't just trying to keep up with all the trends. They were kind of doing their own thing, and this flanker was a representative of that. This is Valentino Uomo Aqua. Lovely fragrance. If you want something posh and upscale that's still relatively easygoing for the warm weather, this is one to consider. It is a warm weather iris, perhaps along the lines of something like Dior Homme, another discontinued gem. Maybe you had a chance to try that, maybe not, but it's a fresh iris. It is a fresh kind of watery, clean iris. Tomato plays a role here. So there is this kind of green vegetal tomato vibe in there that just creates this interesting take on a freshness, this welcoming quality, perhaps blended with a little bit of citrus. And that iris here is, again, clean, not super powdery, not super rooty or orris-like or buttery. No, it is fresh and light. Doesn't last that long. I might get 6 hours out of this, but that's all I would need it for the occasions I would wear it for. And I'm happy to remind myself that it exists. And I'm lucky enough to have a bottle. Let me know if you dig this one. Let me know if you've had a chance to try it. I think it's still out there here and there. You might even be able to get decants. I'll link to what I can find down below, but I do know that full bottles are not that easy to come by, unless I'm mistaken. If you know better, then let us know down in the comments. But that's Valentino Uomo Aqua. This next one, honestly, when I first got my nose on this several years back, I was disappointed. I was like, this smells kind of basic. It smells borderline mainstream, but in a niche bottle, or more specifically in a very expensive bottle. But as I've gotten to know it, I'm like, this is very enjoyable. It's very accessible. It is easy to like, but it is well done. It is high quality. So I'm not going to call it a 10 out of 10 fragrance, but I do really like it. And I can easily recommend it to those of you who are looking for high quality simplicity. From Fragrance Dubois, this is London Spice. And no, it's not anything super special. As far as scent profile goes, you're going to smell it and you're going to be like, okay. It reminds me of other things I've tried. It reminds me of some designers I might have, but it's well done. There's something that gives it some depth, that gives it some interest as you get that full inhale in the nose. It's fresh and minty. It's aquatic, maybe a little citrusy or fruity. Lavender, there is this kind of clean, almost barbershop quality to it, but it has some depth for being so easy. I really enjoy it. I'm glad I held on to it and have come back around to it, but it's been a while since I've worn this. It's been a while since I've talked about it. I'm pulling it back out for the summer for 2025. I want to know what you think if you've tried London Spice. Would you endorse it? Do you find it completely off the wall, amazing, mind-blowingly unique in your world? Or do you also think it's just kind of, basic, but not terrible? Anyway, that's London Spice. It's good stuff. This one I really had no business forgetting about, because when I first got my nose on it a couple years ago, I was head over heels about it. I was talking about it all the time. I was honestly a broken record about this fragrance. And somewhere along the way, it did kind of slip to the background. And that's what happens when your collection is continually ebbing and growing and flowing and shrinking and all that stuff. So I had to remind myself, Justin, do you remember you liked this one? And I took a whiff of it.
Yeah, I remember.
This one is great. This is an exceptional designer summer fragrance from Kenzo. This is Kenzo M EDP, perfumed by Quentin Biche. If you missed my video where I'm talking about my most unwearable fragrances, you'll see in that video that Quentin did not get the best of treatment in that video. There are several of his fragrances that I was not speaking the most favorably about, but there are several of his that I have that I do really enjoy. This is one of them. This is a standout as far as an aquatic scent goes. It is kind of a smoky, leathery, woody, seaweedy-ish, fresh, clean, dark aquatic, maybe a hint of this fruitiness in there, almost like a red fruit vibe tucked away. An overall cleanliness here, an overall freshness, but it's strong and it's dark. There is a strength here. There is a boldness here. It performs super well. It lasts a long time, at least for me. It really stands out among other designer, mainstream, aquatic or blue or fresh fragrances that are catered for men. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't done so for some reason over the past few years. I think its praises are worth it. That is Kenzo Homme EDP. Now, I'm pretty sure this next fragrance I have never featured in a video. I'm pretty dang sure. I've only actually worn it once, sometime last summer, and I really enjoyed it. But for some reason, I just never got around to putting it in a video, and then I forgot it existed. So again, going through my collection, I found it. I'm like, man, I remember this being pretty good. I took another whiff of it. This has to be in this video. It is worth your attention. This is from Kierin NYC. This is one they call Pier New York or Pier NY, and it is their take on an aquatic. There's this eucalyptus, salty, fresh aquatic feel. It's kind of medicinal in a way, but also fruity, and that fruity and medicinal quality gives it a touch of something different. I think the fruitiness comes from fig here. Again, it's salty, it's uplifting, it's fresh, it's clean. It almost has a laundry-like feel, especially as it dries down. It might remind you of something like wood sage and sea salt from Jo Malone, which is beautiful. It's not exactly like that, but it's up that alley. So if you like that fragrance, you'll probably like this, but I can't guarantee you will or won't find them redundant to each other. So make sure you sample first just to be sure for yourself. Super easy to wear for those hot days, especially going to the beach. I think this is a great beach scent. Let me know what you think if you've tried Pier NY, or check it out down at the links below. This is another one that when I got my nose on this a year or two ago, I was all about it. You could not catch me in a video not talking about it. There was no way I was leaving it out, and then it just kind of faded away, but I still love this stuff. I'm happy to remind myself of how much I enjoy it. And this is a classic from Acqua de Parma. If I'm not mistaken, Bertrand Duchaor perfumed this one. This is called Cipresso di Toscana. I believe it was released in the early 2000s. It kind of has that vibe. It has this slightly late 90s, early 2000s, old school masculine feel, barbershop leaning, like a woody aromatic feel. The cypress here is clean and green. It almost borders on, this is gonna sound terrible, like house cleaner or like kitchen cleaner vibes, but not in a way that's off-putting. There's something just very refreshing and invigorating about it, in its greenness and its freshness and its woodiness. It's kind of piney. I'm gonna actually give it a spray here on camera. Man, that's good. It's just so well done. And I love that it's kind of light. It has a light sophistication to it, undeniably masculine, even in that barbershop realm, but very cypress heavy, very dry, sharp, woody, but still clean and fresh. Has this gentlemanly quality to it. You might get 5-6 hours out of it, but again, that's all you might need it for. Cipresso di Toscana. Love this stuff. Can't believe I kind of forgot about it. Bringing it back to the forefront. Gonna give it some wear. And I want to know what you think if you've tried it. Let me know in the comments. From Clive Christian, this cute little 10 milliliter bottle. Maybe one day I'll upgrade to the larger size, but not until I finish this. But this one is lovely. This is called Crab Apple Blossom. See if I can get the gold in there. Yes. Crab Apple Blossom. Interesting take on an easy fragrance. In that London spice realm, not so much in terms of scent. I do think there's a mintiness here. It's a fragrance that smells easygoing but high quality. It has this almost mojito vibe. It's like aquatic, mojito, minty, fresh, woody, a little bit fruity in there, and kind of sharp and crisp. An easygoing daytime scent that has some refinement to it. You're not just coming out of the house looking like a slob. You did dress up a little bit, you put yourself together a little bit, you cleaned up, you shaved, you showered, all that good stuff. And you want something that is not offensive, but something that is marginally memorable, something that is not like everything else out there. I do think it has a little bit of a special quality to it. Honestly, maybe even a little bit more standout than London Spice. So that comparison still stands, but I would edge this if you're looking for something slightly more unique. Anyway, that's Crab Apple Blossom. I hope I described it well enough for you to get an idea of what it smells like. If you haven't tried it, then yeah, check it out at the links below. Maybe I can find this little 10 milliliter bottle that you can get. Another fragrance that, to be honest, I was not the biggest fan of when I first got it. It was sent to me by the house of Naughton and Wilson. It was their second release that they did. Their first release, Gravitas Pour Homme. Love that stuff. That is a 10 out of 10 fragrance to me. I will have that and love that for a long time. But this one, for some reason just didn't land the same way. I'm not sure why, but I've come back around to it in the past couple years, gave it some redemption. I was like, oh man, this is actually really good. I like the direction of this. I like the sophistication. And then it just faded away. The excitement built up and then it dropped off. But I'm glad to revisit this for the summer. Bon Viveur. This is so classy. It pays homage to some older fragrances, stuff like Dior Eau Sauvage. It is citrusy, it's fresh, it's uplifting and bright. There is this fruitiness in there, very, very mild fruitiness, maybe a bit of this spirity like cocktail, boozy quality in there. But overall, it does remind me of these old school citrus aromatic fragrances from men that came out in the 60s and the 70s, but definitely with a modern touch, definitely with a bit of the gravitas DNA in there. I think it's such a well done homage to these earlier types of scents and scent personalities. I want to know what you think if you've tried this one. This is Bon Viveur from Naughton & Wilson. Let me know what you think of it. And our final fragrance, I cannot believe I forgot this one. It's a simple one, but it is definitive and it is an homage to the fig, and it's in the name. From Molinard, an old fragrance house from the mid 1800s, I believe. This is called Figue. Simple as that. If you like fig, you're probably gonna like this, but I want you to know that it's more of a green fig, green, fresh, and woody. I'm gonna remind myself of what it smells like here. Wow, this is so uplifting. This is so summery, but in a way that has a little bit of classiness to it, but it's mostly fun. It's green, it's fresh, it's woody, it's fruity, but not overly sweet, almost like slightly unripe fig. Oh, it's just hanging in the nostrils. It's so lingering in a way. This is beautiful. If you like something like Philosophes from Diptyque, you're probably gonna like this. This is more on the green side. No coconut vibes in here, so I don't get like beachy under the sun vibes as I do out of Philosophes. That one is beautiful too, but it does have these similar multi-dimensional elements of the fig, the tree, the leaves, the fruit itself, but it's definitely leaning more towards the leafy side. That's the best way I could describe this. Easygoing, not super strong, probably not gonna last all that long, but no slouch. It's an eau de parfum. I find that it has a nice presence on my skin. It does sit on my skin a good while. I'd say at least good 5 to 7 hours. It's easy to wear. It's gonna be great for those fun days out when it's hot and you want something that doesn't smell super mainstream or super basic or shower gel. Really easy to wear for that. This is Figue from Molinard. Let me know what you think of this. I'm honestly loving this in the air so much right now. I want to know what you think of this one as well as all the ones I talked about. Once again, links down in the description, and I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.